One very underrated tool for sales professionals is Claude, surprisingly. Now, I know a lot of you are maybe using Claude for some creative writing or anything else, but within Claude, there is something called Claude projects, which you may or may not have been aware of, may or may not have been using, but they are extremely helpful when it comes to doing better as a sales professional and ultimately getting more results from cold outreach and from your sales. So let me show you exactly how you can set them up and why they are so powerful. So before we do that, a little bit of theory, and this is how I use these projects, the cloud projects, to build what I call a sales brain. Now, a sales brain is something that holds a lot of context on your organization, your sales organization, your results, what is your company does, but also what is going on in your actual demos, your calls, etc. So you create a Claude project, and I will go through a simple setup in just a second. And within there, you either upload an existing go-to-market or sales playbook that you have that clearly explains what it is that your company does and everything, or you create one. And then under that, you can just say, okay, give me campaign ideas on who we should be reaching out to, or give me other content ideas, although I do recommend having separate projects for sales, for content, etc. And then ask it to write emails, pull in your analytics and everything. Now, the great part about this is that it has that separate memory. So within that project, you can store all your sales memory. That's why I call it your sales brain. And you can keep referencing that whenever you say, okay, write me a new email, or here's a call transcript. Just see, how could I have done better addressing these objections that this person had. And then Claude can actually dive into your previous calls, into your company knowledge and all of that to tell you exactly what you could be doing better and how going forward your performance could be even better. So I'm a big fan of Claude projects. I think they're a very underrated tool that GTM professionals have available to them. So let me show you and just quickly run you through how I'm using Claude as a sales professional in a way that I think a lot of people could benefit from as well. So as you can see here, I have several projects that I'm working on. So just some sales brain trials that I'm working on. So different sales brains. I have a project for my finances, for instantly content that I'm working on, and another sales brain that I try working on, instantly MCP. And you have all that separate content, right? You have available right there, all that separate memory. And as you click into one, how I use this is under files, you can maybe store your favorite copywriting framework or your copywriting rules. You can add additional instructions when it comes to copywriting. And then here we have an Instantly.ai sales playbook. Now, how that works is I created a sales playbook skill. If you're not familiar with skills, look at my previous posts, especially my last one about skills. And I told it, listen, whenever you create a sales playbook, look for case studies on the website, look for specific verticals that this company should be targeting, etc. And then the cool part is then that it actually built a full, I think it's 28 pages PDF. Yeah, 28 pages with a sales playbook for Instantly.ai. What is it that Instantly does? Company overview, different features, unique selling points, social proof, different case studies, all of that. And then the best part is now that that is within our sales brain, that is part of the knowledge. So now every time when I ask it, and in this case, I said, hey, listen, write a cold email sequence for me reaching out to B2B SaaS founders of company with less than 100 employees. It says, let me first read the sales playbook to understand what we're selling and get the case studies and proof points that we need. That is great. Now it looks at the cold email example that I added to the knowledge as well. And then actually writes the cold emails for me. And then the best part is I can do that going forward forever. I can then say, okay, write cold email sequences. And then once I have all of these sequences running, I can then pull in analytics and say, okay, now check how each of them were performing and optimize accordingly. And that is just such a cool thing where you have that sales brain and you pull in analytics, and now it has all of that additional context on what is and isn't working. It can actually tell you, okay, listen, we've been doing this, but we should try that instead. And then you can say, okay, you know what? I actually booked a demo with this person, and here is a call transcript of me on the demo. How does that align with our sales playbook? Maybe they had different objections or different ideas that we didn't cover in our sales playbook, and then update accordingly, or help me draft a follow-up based on this call transcript. It just is your command center in one centralized location for all of your sales work, which is just in this day and age is just very, very helpful, because there are so many different tools that you have to jump between, etc. And now you no longer have to, because also the best part is that you can go in here and then there are different connectors that you can add. And me, for example, I've added the Instantly MCP, and now I can just say, hey, that's great. Thanks for the sequence. Create the campaign for me and instantly. Thank you very much. And then I can start adding leads to it. It can launch the campaign. It can analyze the campaign, track the campaign, optimize it. And I can just, from this one centralized location, without having to jump between 20 different tabs, I can actually just have it manage all of my sales, all of my outbound work, which is very, very helpful. And that is exactly why I'm such a huge fan of Claude and projects. You have the connectors where Claude is just really tapped into the B2B space, and then the B2B sales tools. A lot of your favorite ones, they're connected there as well. You can drop in the Instantly MCP, and now you can manage your entire Instantly account from Claude. Ask it what's going on. It can help you optimize it. So Claude projects, very underrated, and I very much encourage you to check them out. And if you have any questions about them, then you can drop them in the comments.